When a colonial power establishes itself in a land, it doesn't just leave behind systems and structures. It leaves behind people shaped by that history. Welcome to Sacred Echoes of India. In this segment, we are going to understand how history created the Anglo-Indian community, what changed after independence, and whether their culture can survive in modern India. British rule in India was a period of domination and exploitation, one that India rightfully ended through its struggle for independence. But in the long shadow of that colonial era, a small community emerged, not as rulers, not as freedom fighters, but as people born into the consequences of empire. This is the story of the Anglo-Indians. An Anglo-Indian is not a British person living in India. Legally and historically, an Anglo-Indian was defined as a person with European, mostly British male ancestry, who was born in India and permanently domiciled here. India was their only home. Many families had lived on Indian soil for generations. They were never colonial rulers nor outsiders looking in. They were a community that developed within colonial society. The Anglo-Indian community emerged during the early centuries of British rule. British men arrived in India as part of the East India Company and later the Crown. Some formed families with Indian women. Over time, colonial racial hierarchies hardened. Mixed heritage families were gradually excluded from both British and Indian social spaces. As a result, Anglo-Indians formed a distinct community, not out of privilege, but out of social necessity, with their own schools, churches, neighborhoods, and traditions. They did not design the colonial system, they lived inside it. Anglo-Indians were often employed in clerical, technical, and service roles, particularly in government-run systems. This did not mean they were decision-makers or beneficiaries of colonial exploitation. They worked as mechanics, technicians, and clerks, railway employees, telegraph and postal workers. These were jobs created by colonial system, and Anglo-Indians occupied them because English education was accessible to them. Social barriers limited other opportunities. Their role was functional, not powerful. Indian independence was a moment of national restoration and pride, but for Anglo-Indians, it also brought uncertainty. The colonial system that had defined their social position disappeared, as it should have. Suddenly, a community shaped around that system had to redefine itself overnight. Many faced difficult questions. How do we fit into a newly independent nation? How do we move beyond a colonial identity we did not choose? Some families emigrated abroad. Others stayed and adapted. This period is often described as an identity transition. Not a rejection by India, but a transformation forced by history. And independence marked the reclaiming of that legacy. Anglo-Indian culture developed as a blend, shaped by Indian surroundings and European influence. English as a first language, railway mutton curry, pepper water, choirs, jazz, ballroom dancing, strong family bonds, and neighborhood networks. It was never a replacement for Indian culture. It existed within India's diversity, recognizing that Anglo-Indians were a small and vulnerable minority. India's constitution included a special safeguard. The president could nominate Anglo-Indian representatives to parliament and state assemblies if the community lacked adequate representation. This reflected India's constitutional commitment to protecting minorities, not rewarding colonial association. In 2020, the nomination provision was removed. The official reasoning was that the Anglo-Indian population had declined significantly. Special political protection was no longer required. Some viewed this as a step toward equal treatment. Others felt it symbolized the fading recognition of a small community. Both views exist and both deserve understanding. Anglo-Indian culture is shrinking but not erased. Migration, intermarriage, and modernization have reduced its visibility. Yet culture survives in family traditions, food, and music, stories passed down through generations. Its future depends not on politics alone, but on memory, documentation, and respect. The Anglo-Indian story is not about colonial achievement. It is about how history creates communities and how independence reshapes them. India moved forward after 1947, as it should have. Some communities adapted easily, others quietly struggled. Understanding this story does not weaken India's past, it deepens our understanding of its complexity. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful videos. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.